Sha'Carri Richardson, world champion, Olympic gold medalist, one of the fastest women alive. She flew to a tiny Australian town, population 6,000. She lined up 9 meters behind the entire field, and she had to beat all of them. What she did next, no American woman has ever done. Sha'Carri Richardson was born on March 25, 2000 in Dallas, Texas. She was raised by her grandmother. Her talent showed up young. At Carter High School in Dallas, she won Texas state titles in both the 100 and 200 meters. Then she went to LSU, and in 2019, at just 19 years old, she broke 2 World Under 20 records on the same day at the NCAA Championships. She qualified for the Tokyo Olympics in 2021 by winning the trials. Then she tested positive for cannabis and was suspended. She missed the games. She owned it, explained herself, and came back. The suspension cost her Tokyo. What it could not cost her was speed. What she came back as was different from what left. In 2022, she struggled. She finished last at the Prefontaine Classic. She did not place inside the top 30 on the global rankings list. Some people wrote her off. She had heard that before. In 2023, she won the World Championship in the 100 meters in Budapest, running 10.65 seconds, a championship record. She also won relay gold that same week. The following year in Paris, she finished second in the 100 meters behind Julian Alfred of St. Lucia. Then she grabbed the anchor baton in the 4x100 relay with Team USA in 4th place, passed 2 countries and won Olympic gold. She crossed the line and looked back at the competition with that famous stare. That is who showed up in Stawell, Australia on April 6, 2026, an Olympic gold medalist, a world champion, a 26-year-old at the peak of her powers. But the Stawell Gift does not care who you are. The Stawell Gift has been running since 1878. That makes it 148 years old, older than the modern Olympics. It is held on Easter weekend in Stawell, a small town in the Grampians region of Victoria, Australia, about 235 kilometers west of Melbourne. The race is 120 meters, run on grass, up a slight gradient, in front of a grandstand that is over a century old. And here is the part that makes it unlike anything else in sprinting. Every runner starts from a different position. The handicap system works like this. Organizers study each runner's previous performances and assign a starting mark. A slower runner might start 8, 9, even 10 meters closer to the finish. An elite international sprinter starts from scratch, meaning the very back of the track, with 0 head start. The idea is that every runner in the field should, in theory, cross the finish line at the exact same moment. In practice, someone always wins, and that someone is usually not the fastest person in the race. That is why winning from scratch is so rare. You are not just faster than everyone. You have to be fast enough to erase the gap that the system deliberately built against you. Elite international sprinters who come to Stawell often leave humbled. The handicap has swallowed names bigger than the town itself. In 148 years of the men's race, only 2 men have ever won from scratch. The women's race has been running since 1989. Before April 6, 2026, only 2 women had ever won it from scratch. Melissa Breen in 2012, Bree Rizzo in 2025. Sha'Carri Richardson was not thinking about becoming the 3rd, she was thinking about racing. Saturday heats came first. Richardson, starting from scratch, won her heat in 13.82 seconds. That was with a 9-meter deficit to overcome from the first step. She was through to the semifinals. So was her partner, Christian Coleman, the former world champion in the 100 meters, who won his heat in 12.68 seconds. The Easter Monday crowd arrived for finals day. Over 6,000 spectators packed Central Park for the semifinals and final. Cameras were rolling for 7 network television. The carnival atmosphere that Stawell builds every year was in full swing. Then Richardson nearly lost it all before the final even happened. In the women's semifinal, Richardson came out hard and fast. She was closing the gap on the field. She was right where she needed to be. And then, in the final meters, she rose up too soon. She stopped driving. She straightened early. Her body thought the race was over before the finish line agreed. Local runner Hallie Martin surged. Martin nearly stole it. A photo finish separated the 2 women. The margin was 0.07 of a second. That is not even a full 100th. Richardson was through, but barely. The crowd had seen enough to know this could go either way in the final. Richardson did not deflect. She did not brush it off. Speaking to the Channel 7 broadcast afterward, she owned the mistake immediately. "I keep doing that," she admitted. "We're working on that." But running through the line, for sure, come finals. The final was 2 hours away. Coleman, meanwhile, could not replicate his Saturday form. He was eliminated in his semi-final after failing to make up the massive handicap ground. He would watch from the crowd. Richardson had her own race to run. 6 women lined up on the grass. The woman to beat was Charlotte Nielsen, a teenager. She started 9 full meters ahead of Richardson. In a 120-meter handicap race, that is a wall. A false start delayed everything. Richardson stayed calm, waited, and reset. The gun fired again. Richardson came out of the blocks patient and controlled. Then she found her top gear. She started hunting the field. 60 meters, 70, 80. She was still behind, still chasing. She closed the final 30 meters the way world champions close final 30 meters. Nielsen could not hold. The 9-meter lead was gone. Richardson crossed the line first in 13.07 seconds, the fastest time in the history of the women's gift since 2006. She let out a roar and opened her arms. 3 women. That is the entire list. Melissa Breen became the first woman to win from scratch in 2012. Brie Rizzo became the second in 2025. And now Richardson. 3 women in 37 years of the women's gift. Richardson is the only non-Australian on the list. She is the only world champion, and she recorded the fastest time the event has ever seen. The prize, 40,000 Australian dollars, roughly 27,800 US dollars. That is modest compared to the Diamond League, but Richardson was not there for the money. She celebrated with fans on the infield. She embraced Coleman. She spoke to the crowd genuinely stunned by where she found herself. "Thank you for having me," she said. "It feels truly humbling, away from home, being so appreciated on the track. I've just been enjoying it, having such a great time with all of you in Stawell. This is something I've never experienced before." The Stawell Gift has been telling the same story since 1878. The fast get humbled. The handicap system levels everything. The biggest names fly in, face a gap they cannot close, and go home. Sha'Carri Richardson did not go home with a story like that. She went home with a trophy, a record, and a place in history that only 2 other women share. This was her first race of the 2026 outdoor season. The Diamond League, the World Athletics Championships, all of it still to come. She used Easter Monday in a small Australian town to sharpen her edges, test her patience, and remind everyone watching exactly who she is.